What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. I'm Cher. I own and operate a mobile detail and window tint business called Resurrection AutoWorks. Today, we're going to be tinting the windshield on my Ram 1500. So before we get started, let me show you all the tools that we're going to be using. First, starting with this braided rope, we're going to tuck this into the dashboard so we don't damage any electrical components. Right here, we have some electrical tape. No, that's outline tape. Then we have our heat gun. We have a blade. I use these stainless steel blades. You can get these off Amazon. Then we have our bulldozer right here. Right here in this water bottle, this is just baby soap and water. Then we have our squeegees. Need that. Corner tools. This tool right here is called a side swipe. It's great for edges. Another squeegee and then some hard cards. And you will be needing one of these felt cards for shrinking. Alright, so before you tint any window, you need to make sure the surface is clean on the inside and the outside. I use these scrub pads, or you can use a razor blade. Using my soap and water, I'm just going to spray the windshield down and just go in with my scrub pad back and forth. And this is just to make sure we get all the dirt and debris off of the surface so nothing can penetrate the film. Using your squeegee, remove all the water. Now I'm going to be using this outline tape, and I'm just going to outline along the dot matrix. This is good for using it as a guide for when you cut the film, and it's good for protecting the window from scratches. Alright, so we got our outline done. I don't cut this part out until I'm done shrinking because it can cause a lot of problems when shrinking. It can burn easily, it can crease. So I just wait till the end to cut that out. I'm going to be using a dry shrink method for this film. So before we apply the film to the window, we need to wipe it down. I use a dry shrink pad. You can use a laundry detergent sheet. You can use a dryer sheet, or you can use baby shampoo on a towel and just wipe the window. All right, now with the shrink prep, you just want to wet your surface down a little bit because you want it to dry quick. Then wet your pad down or your dryer sheet, whatever you're using. And then I just go in with back and forth motions because we're going to be shrinking up and down. I just want everything to flow. So we're going to be using one direction. We're going to be going in the direction that we're shrinking in, because we want everything to flow and we don't want anything to go against each other. All right, so now that we got our dry shrink prep applied, we just want to let that dry for 2 to 3 minutes. You can use a heat gun to speed up the process, but I'd rather talk to you guys more about these dry shrink prep pads. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I just love these pads. This is by the brand Dry Shrink Prep. I like these because they're infused with coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, even cocoa butter. These serve as a healthy alternative to dryer sheets, and they also flow a lot better when shrinking the film. And I'll have a link to them in the description below. All right, so now that the dry shrink prep is dried and you can feel it with your hand, we're gonna apply the film. So now we're gonna lay out our film like so. I just take mine and work it across. All right, so now that I got the film laid out, I'm just gonna cut all this excess. I'm not gonna cut against the guideline until I'm done shrinking, just so I give myself some extra film to work with in case I make a mistake. I'm gonna take a rag and some water. Then I'm gonna wipe the window down in an H pattern. So I'm gonna take my rag, come across the center, then come across up and down. Then I'm gonna take my felt card, and while the film is lifted, I'm just gonna come and I'm gonna tack it down. And we're gonna do this on both sides, making an H pattern. So this is what your fingers should be looking like, and you can take your hand and just guide the film so that all the fingers lay up and down. Now we're gonna heat shrink the film. I use the heat gun in circular motions so the heat is spread out and it doesn't get too hot in one area and burn the film. You'll know the film is shrunk when it makes waves like this, and then that's when you want to wipe the card. You never want to wipe your card on an area that has not been shrunk because that's when you cause creases. I shrink in 4 sections, and sometimes depending on the vehicle, I usually start at the bottom when I shrink because the top edges can be more difficult. And with these top corners, when they start to make that kind of Y shape, don't keep shrinking, lift it up, and then just lightly glide your finger across, and then just shrink all across. Because these little Y, when it starts to come down like this, it will make a crease. So just lift it up and then shrink from there. This is what it should look like once you shrunk everything. Now once you've shrunk everything, you can cut along the edges. I'm being a little extra right now, but cutting out these mirrors can be difficult, so just be careful and strategize when you're doing this. All right, now we're gonna clean the inside of the window. So I'm just gonna spray it down. Then I'm gonna use my scrub pad. Then I'm gonna spray it down one more time before I squeegee. Alright, so now I'm gonna be using my braided rope and I'm gonna tuck it back into the dashboard using my bulldozer. And I'm just gonna tuck it into the seal. I want to tuck it down as far as I can so none of the film will catch onto the rope. This rope will catch any water from damaging any of the electrical components. in the dashboard. Mainly, I want to cover the speakers, and if the car does have an entertainment system like this, like a TV, cover that as well. Alright, so we're going to be using the back row method, so I'm going to wet it down before I install it. I'm going to come to the top. And while I'm pulling the plastic back, I'm going to be spraying it down. Once you lay the plastic back down, you just want to flatten it out, make sure everything is flush. So same thing with the other side. Lay the plastic back down. Now we're going to take a corner, we're going to lift it up, and then we're just going to roll the film. Once you get to about the center right here, you can just lift it up, like so, and then roll the rest of it. So I'm just going to unroll all the film. I'm going to spray everything down. Alright, now when you go to install it, you want to tuck the bottom corner in first and work your way up to the top. And then as you go across, tuck the bottom, come up to the top. Once you've got all the film laid down, you want to spread it out, removing all the air. Before you go to squeegee the water out, spray the film. First thing I do when I squeegee is I come across the center horizontally. Then I come down in a vertical pattern coming from that center section that I just made. Now coming from the center section to the top, I like to come at a little bit of a curve so I catch all of the water under the film. Then I repeat that same process with the other side, starting with the bottom, and then my top is going to be my last section. Now I'm going to use my side swipe and just go across the edges. Now I'm going to take my bulldozer and I'm going to lay down the bottom edge. I'm going to take my pink squeegee and work my way around the mirror just to make sure everything is laid down. Now that everything's laid down, I can carefully take this rope out. So slowly, I'm just going to pull outward. All right, y'all, we're finished. The window came out so good. All right, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope this video helped somebody on their window tint journey. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Let me know what kind of videos y'all want. Again, I'm Cher with Resurrection Auto Works. Peace and blessings.